Beckham Jr. in a second, but first, check out the dunk from Jamal Murray, right over J.J. Redick.
Denver, I think, is going to end up missing the playoffs by a game, which is a bit of a shame because they would play some 140, 120 games against Houston in the first round. There would be a whole lot of scoring in that series. Jamal Murray would be a big part of that.
J.J. Redick. Now, he took to your theory. Don't take a charge because you're underneath the bucket. That's Nick's how the defense. No, you can't take a charge. He ain't up for that. You see that? That's what happens when you can't take a charge.
That's
you
also
just
what
look
happens
bad.
when you can't jump, J.J.
Look at Joel Embiid, same game right over here over Paul Millsap.
Paul Millsap would have been better off taking a page out of J.J. Redick's book on this one. Man, don't jump, Paul. Don't try to contest.
J.J., they're not there for their defense.
Nah, man.
They're there to shoot the ball, score the basketball.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, come on, Paul Millsap. Foul him is something.
Jump with one hand. You can jump higher.
Yeah, come on, man. Oh, he can jump higher.
Finally, look at these dunks from Duke commit Zion Williamson. Won the dunk contest at the McDonald's All-American game.
Now, this is impressive because Duke got some big thighs. To be able to get the ball between his legs in midair, now that's a task right there. Now, the thing that I like, it's not just the jersey, but Zion looks a little bit smaller than during the regular season.
Oh.
My goodness, he's a massive young man.
You feel so, but smaller in a good way. Physical fitness.
Yeah, no, he's lost weight. He's lost weight
fitter.
since the regular season.
Man, all those
I don't know that. I just actually read it.
all those high school kids who had to guard him, they're like, oh, now you lose weight, man.
Time for Take Your Pick. A lot of drama surrounding Odell Beckham Jr. Trade rumors have started to swirl around the star wide receiver, but owner Steve Tisch says he'd like to have OBJ back next season. So what is a more likely team for Odell Beckham Jr. next season, the Giants or somewhere else? CC, take your pick.
I think the New York Giants. I think they'll sign him. I think this right here, because of the video, it will slow up the contract negotiations, but I believe they'll sign him to a contract extension before we get into training camp. So I look for them to sign him probably at the beginning of July, at the end of June, give him the extension, and try to moving forward. I think that's the Giants. That is their best move. I'm not saying I wouldn't trade him, but I'm just saying I believe the Giants sign him and take him back.
And what you're seeing with the Giants, a little bit of good cop, bad cop. Like John Merritt comes out and says, I'm sick of being asked about him. You know, it's very disappointing. And Steve Tisch's like, hey, listen, I love the player. We're still working on an extension.
Yeah.
Listen, you can't trade away your best player in the league, the best player on your team, pardon me, unless you are trying to enter a full rebuild. I don't believe they are trying to enter a full rebuild. So the Giants is...
Yeah, I do believe he can be traded. I just believe the Giants won't trade him.
Okay. All right, sticking in the NFC, the Rams added Ndamukong Suh to an already strong defense. They had already added Aqib Talib and Marcus Peters, so who has a better defense, the Rams or the Super Bowl champion Eagles? Nick Wright, take your pick.
Man, when I was first asked this question, I thought, I'm like, man, Marcus Peters and Aqib Talib, plus Aaron Donald, now Ndamukong Suh. Wow. And then I looked at the other 7 starters on the defense. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go with Philadelphia.
Yeah, name 3 of them.
Right, exactly. They've got
Lamarcus Joyner,
Michael Brockers, Lamarcus Joyner, some linebackers to be named later. Like, no. Because Robert Quinn's no longer on the Rams. The Eagles, even though I still have some questions about the overall strength of their secondary, the defensive line, I think, got better this offseason. They're going to have Jordan Hicks, the middle linebacker, back. The Eagles, for the time being, certainly right now have a better defense than the Rams, even if the Rams have more star power, those 4 guys I named.
The Eagles also, they have a system. They have guys who have balled in. They brought in a couple other veterans. It's great news. Yesterday, Chris Long is going to be coming back for the 2018 season. Howie Roseman continuing to get it done. We know what they have coming over from Seattle and getting that trade in Michael Bennett. But also, they have a belief in the system. They have 7 players play 400 snaps. What about Ndamukong Suh? Does he play third down? You take him off the field? See, I believe there's some communication there, things, or they're going to play man-to-man in the secondary. They're going to play zone. What about on third down? Are they going to blitz? There's a lot of things have to be worked out with the Rams and that defense. I believe in Philadelphia and what they've already established with Jim Schwartz as a defensive coordinator.
All right, Philadelphia and Philadelphia. Moving on, the Cowboys brought in for Jaguar.
They brought in Alan Hurns over the weekend.
Former Jaguar?
Yeah, he's former Jaguar.
Okay.
Now he's Dallas Cowboys.
It was the same Alan
2
Hurns.
years, $12 million.
Is that what it was?
Exactly right. There still isn't a clear picture of Des Bryant's future.
Is that the case?
Executive VP Stephen Jones says
What
we'll
did
talk
he
about
say?
Des when it's time.
When?
So, CC, who has a better year next year, Des Bryant or Alan Hurns?
What did he say?
CC, take
I'll go with
pick.
Des Bryant. I believe Dez will come back and have the better year he's had of the last 4 years. I don't believe he'll get back to superstar status. I believe he will catch 1,000 yards in this year, and also believe he'll score 8 to 10 touchdowns. Dez Bryant has a better season.
All right, CC, you know how we've seen some players, I'll take Julius Thomas, for example, go from playing with Peyton Manning, and then they leave Peyton Manning, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, they're not the player that we thought they were. I think the reverse thing's going to happen with Alan Hurns. Go from playing with Blake Bortles to a real NFL quarterback and be like, oh, Alan Hurns' 500 yards with Blake Bortles was worth about 800 yards with a real quarterback. We'd seen Alan Hurns 3 years ago be a 1,000-yard receiver. I actually think Alan Hurns is a little undervalued in Jacksonville. I think it's hard to have big seasons there, even though he and Allen Robinson a few years ago both had 1,000-yard seasons. I like Alan Hurns as an addition for the Cowboys. I like Alan Hurns to have a bigger year than Dez Bryant this upcoming season.
All right, to the NBA now. Markelle Fultz and Lonzo Ball both had solid games last night. They were the top 2 picks, respectively, in last year's draft. But what if they could do it all over again? Who would you take first in the redraft? Because this is something that happens. Markelle Fultz or Lonzo Ball? Nick, take your pick.
Well, I was very happy to see Markelle Fultz back on the court last night. However, I said before the draft I thought Lonzo would be the best player in this draft. Now, Donovan Mitchell and Jason Tatum have something to say about that, but I'm a believer in Lonzo Ball. I'm a believer in Lonzo Ball's ability continuing to improve as a shooter. He's already an excellent rebounder, excellent passer, and a surprisingly good defender. For all those reasons, Lonzo, the guy I would have taken a year ago, is the guy right now I would rather have than Markelle Fultz.
Yeah, you're one of the few people that would take him Lonzo, because I'll take Markelle. He's a better athlete. He's a better shooter. I believe ultimately he'll be a better defender. So I don't know what besides passing the ball. I don't need passing that much in Philadelphia. If you look at the way Markelle matches up with Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, to me he has more skill to build score the basketball than Lonzo will ever have. So for me, I stay with Fultz. I thought he was a higher pick. I thought he was a better pro prospect. I like the way I believe Philadelphia got it right.
All right, to the NCAA tournament now. The odds are out, and Villanova is the overwhelming favorite to win it all. Almost even odds. What's the better bet to win it all, Villanova or the field, CC? Take your pick.
I'm going with Nova. You have to, not only because their overall experience, not only because we love their head coach, love the system that they run, but man, they're the only team that got NCAA experience. Yeah. I mean, just 2 years, they got championship pedigree. They got all these kids up and down the roster. I mean, who's going to score the basketball? They can go inside. They can shoot the ball from 3. To me, and they have the best point guard left in the tournament. I like Nova top to bottom.
Listen, I was not ready to take Villanova over the field last weekend when there were 16 teams left. With 4 teams left, I will take them over the field. They're a 6-point favorite against Kansas. If they beat Kansas, they will be a significant favorite against either Michigan or Loyola. And to CC's point about experience, of their top 6 rotation in the tournament, 5 of those guys have been with the program at least 3 years. They got a couple redshirt juniors who've been in the program 4 years, plus obviously the coach. So for all those reasons, I think Nova right now is a better bet than all the other teams left combined.
Nova. All right, coming up, is there a new top dog in the NFC? It's next on First Things First.
So your decision.
That's the part you're supposed to get in there about the tie bar.
That's what I was about to ask you. Your decision.